Hello and welcome to another episode of the Ubuntu podcast. It's your boy Prince, and as you can see, I'm not by myself. Double impact. What else they call twins? I'm with Joshua and Israel, as you can see. If you didn't get the double impact reference, you should go watch Van Damme's Double Impact. He had the twin in that movie. So allow my gents to introduce themselves.
I go first. Hi, my name is Josh. I am a TV and radio host. I'm a Christian influencer and content creator. I'm a student, so I won't mention the school. But go.
Okay. I'm Israel. Easy noodles. Okay.
AKA Easy Noodles.
Exactly. I'm an event promoter, a
Okay,
microbiology student,
okay,
and basically, I wouldn't want to bring out my profession.
okay.
But yes, yeah.
Alright, not tumfatwa microbiologists, easy noodles students
Student.
specifically. I don't know what he's doing in school, but he's just a student.
A
Doesn't want to tell us what to do.
microbiology
I'm making
student.
sense.
No, him. What is he doing in school?
Me?
You
I'm doing media and journalism. And
in school?
Yes.
Oh, that's what you're studying. I
Yeah.
didn't know
I'm
that.
doing media and journalism.
That's cool.
I'm the next big thing.
He's the next big thing. He's the next Master Chimbala.
Mm.
You know,
Yeah.
you guys know Master Chimbala. He's the next Master Chimbala. So we're gonna get right into it. So I'm here with Joshua and Israel, and they don't know what we'll be speaking about. It's a
Exactly.
surprise.
That's,
That I
I
exactly.
am glad to be here. I'm scared.
It's not long. You can just open the phone. He's scared. Okay. We're gonna have a conversation around the table about porn and masturbation.
Oh, right.
Yeah,
Right.
a very controversial topic.
Yeah, very.
However, it has to be spoken about because, beloved, why are you still masturbating? Why are you still watching porn
Exactly.
at your age?
Yes.
You shy. But we're not condemning the acts.
We're condemning you being stuck in the sin. So, gents, who wants to go first? What has been your own experience with being in the cycle? I say it's a phase of life
Phase of
of masturbation and porn. And how did you come across it, and how did it start?
I think he should go first. He has more experience.
Eh.
No, not in a
That's
bad
very
way.
good.
No, no, not in a bad way. But I feel like he should go first.
Hi, Joshua Floyd Jones. How did you start, and how did you come across it?
Okay, great topic. Um, I'm very passionate about talking about it, not about talking about it, because I was a victim. I had a victim, me myself, right? I used to watch porn and masturbate like 3, 4 times a day. I don't know if that was the
You see
minimum.
what I was saying? He has more
I used to
experience.
watch porn, and one
Christ did not come to judge people.
Why not?
I used to watch and masturbate 3, 4 times a day, right? It used to get very bad, like very bad. Like would end up just sleeping, and my him and my sister would end up finding the video on my phone. Like I would just black out.
Oh.
Yeah. So that was my experience with it. It went on for a long time. You know, you've been in situations where you're just like, okay, I'll stop. I won't watch, and it still comes. Like it still comes, no matter what. No, it still comes. Then I reached a point where I just had enough. I had to let God do, because in that moment I was just like, okay, you know what, God, me, I failed. I failed to do it by myself. So you do it because it's you.
Oh.
And yeah, and after I let God just do the thing, I was like, okay, yeah, I'm here now.
Mhm.
It's been like, it's been, it's been like 3 years since the last time I watched
Wow.
porn, and it went on for like 5 years.
Wow.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a great
How did
testimony.
you come across it? Like,
Yeah, there's this horrible neighbor's child that introduced me to it.
a neighbor's child.
Then a neighbor's child were
Who?
coming for
Can I
you.
know
I
the
haven't,
person?
haven't addict. He's
Ah,
the one that
okay.
introduced me to
We're
it.
not supposed to mention names.
Oh, we're not supposed to.
No, it's
Okay,
okay.
it's okay.
You won't watch
He
it.
should. He won't watch. Yeah, I'm pretty sure he won't. But yeah, he's the one that. There was one time we were playing and stuff like that. So he just showed me a video, and I was intrigued. I was very young, so I was just like, okay, yeah. I went ahead, searched. So it happened very gradual, from just searching for a word to finding websites to finding consistent videos, such things.
Did you ever get to a phase where certain videos didn't move you anymore? So you keep
Yes,
on
obviously
going to
there's
the
that. You
next
keep
page,
going to
the
the
next
next video,
page.
the
You
next
are looking
page,
for something specific
something
now.
specific now. You need something to arouse you more than the other one
The
did.
previous
Yeah.
one, yeah.
So you end up going to the next video. This one you've watched it before. I reached the point where I felt like I've watched almost all the videos on that website.
Wow.
And yeah, that's how
All right,
bad
all right. Let's hear from my man Israel.
you
What's been your
yourself.
own experience and how did you start? Or you've been a clean saint, you're like I never done that before, dog.
I wish. But okay, so I'm gonna start how it started. So my childhood has been a phase of self isolation. So actually, there is a verse in the Bible that says that the what an idle mindset is the devil's.
And I don't mind is the
Devil's
devil's
workshop.
playground.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So whenever I isolate myself, I'll just sit and do nothing. So it reached at a point where I literally don't have anything to do. What should I do? I should watch this, do this, and then sleep, and then forget that. But then this is something I didn't even tell my family. I, did you even know?
I was so
Exactly.
in.
So I would always keep things to myself. But then I think I had to control it the time that I actually came back to Lusaka because this was happening when I was out of Lusaka. Then I came back. But yeah, so it's not something that I actually went deep into.
How long were you in that box of isolating yourself and doing this thing?
I think it's like a year,
A year,
2 years.
2 years.
Years.
How did you come across it? Because you stood as the neighbor's child.
It's just me actually. It's just me.
Find you.
Just you. You found. Excuse me. You found, like, how did you find it? Where did you go? Did your mind go places like, what is, like, what do people, you know what I'm saying?
A part where you're on social media, then you
Then you
see
see
this,
bums.
you see this picture, and then this picture is not enough. You want to see other pictures, so you go to pictures. Then
videos.
pictures are not okay now. You go to videos, and you're just scrolling in the videos. Oh, it's not going to. Hey, let me watch this video. Okay, let me watch another one. Let me watch another.
Then from there on in this in this
It's two
cycle,
years.
it's too late. So that's I think for many of us it's the curiosity behind seeing it for the first time
Yeah.
and wanting to see more that keeps us there. Because when you come across it for the first time, like your body moves different,
Yeah,
like
it
never
does, right.
before. How is this happening? Your mind is just feeling some kind of euphoria, and your other body part starts reacting, and your third arm starts getting happy, and then you're
It's
just like,
giving
yeah, it's a
vibes.
third arm. Your third leg, in fact,
Oh
starts getting
yeah.
happy,
Yo.
and
Continue.
and you're there. And I remember vividly for myself, it was I think I was in grade. I think I was in grade. That was like 2012.
Mhm.
Yeah, I should have been grade 8.
The one that no.
It was grade 1.
No, just
Just
continue.
continue.
Yeah, I think I was in grade 8, and I didn't find it by myself. I found it through my friends. I went to visit my friend, one of my friends back in the day. I went to visit him. I think we were on a school break. Went to visit him. Went by his place. I knocked. Came out. I went into his place. Just everyone is just quiet because I found him with his other friends. So I walked into his room. The moment I walked into his yard, he was like, "Ah, pale to that number one. We're watching this thing," and I wasn't really saying what they're watching, but we're watching this thing which I found on my brother's laptop, his brother's laptop at that time. We're watching this thing. I was like, "Okay, what's it?" So walked into the house, walked into the room, found two of his friends on his bed, and then him was in front of the screen. They were like behind him, and then the chair in front of it,
They're watching.
the computer at that point. There was no laptops. At the computer at that point. Now, out of curiosity, I looked at them and how quiet they were, and they were so very well
Very attentive.
concentrated. They are looking at the screen. I
Yeah.
could face it. And then I turned my head and looked at the screen. I was like, "Oh my God,
Where is this?
what did I just see?
Where did you see?
What did I just see? Why is he putting that thing in the? Yeah,
What?
Oh, but then you were
what?
naive. You didn't know that happens.
I know
He
nothing
knew
about that.
nothing.
Like I was 100%. I was 100% naive. I was 100% like that was the first time I saw someone getting a candle and putting it in the mouth. I was like,
What's happening? Like, what's
was
this?
cutting right there. So then out from there, I went after I did stay to watch with the guys because everybody was watching. I was like, okay, cool. Let's see what's going on. Okay, okay, okay. Wow, that's what happens. So after that day passed, curiosity hit me. Like the same thing for you. I was like,
Myself.
a week went by, I didn't watch. But at some point, it came back to my mind. I was by myself, isolated like him. Nothing's going on. I was like, remember that feeling we got when we watched that? Can we watch it again? And then from there, and it was down here.
So how long were you in that?
Um,
How many times did they again? How long did the again happen?
did that again happen? For me, it was pretty crazy that I wouldn't watch like four, 5 times a month, 4, 5 times a month, or many times in a week. It'll be once a month.
Devil was so lucky. He was so lucky with it.
It was
He,
easy
he
on
wasn't
you.
lucky. I wasn't lucky. He put me in a cycle that was very strategic for me to not identify that I'm actually stuck in something. Because if there's time in between where it's not really happening, you think that I'm okay.
I think yeah. That's
The
that's
devil
that's
can be
that's really
sleek.
something as well that people don't really understand. Because if you ask someone, they'll be like, "No, I do it once in a month, so I'm not addicted to this."
But you are.
Exactly. So
The same way God has a way for everybody. It's the same way the devil has a strategy that will work for everybody. He can't attack everybody the same. He knows this one abangatwavika muri 4 times a day. Wakafumamo bwago. But ngatwavika muri ka once a month mpaka what's up. But he changed that. Let me say, me it doesn't. I'm okay.
because eventually you cannot continue with once a month the whole year. You will automatically change at some point.
Even if you
Increase the
still
frequency.
do, you still it's still a cycle of you being addicted, but then you are comforted by the fact that you just do it once a month and you won't even think it's an addiction.
It's that comfort that is a problem. It's that
Yeah.
comfort that actually keeps you there. Thinking you're better than
Other
the
people.
others that are doing it more. But you people are actually getting the same consequences of watching porn. And bringing it to that point, what do you think were the consequences to your mind and how you see life after watching porn?
My
How did it affect you
consequence.
personally?
How did it affect me? First things first, um, I'm still a smart kid in school, but I was very smart. Like I tell you, very smart. And by constantly watching porn, it just brought down my what do you call that? IQ stuff like that. Huh? Yes, and I became less
Uh,
smarter in school than I was.
is that
Started
why you are
struggling,
failing?
and yes, that's when I started failing.
Okay.
Yes, because I was constantly having it in my head. Even I was also comforted by the fact, okay, maybe it's just videos I watch, I forget about it, and go back to my books. But then it doesn't stop there. It goes on. It lowers your IQ. And what else? It also had health problems. On maybe not health problems, but I would because you use your hand, right, to masturbate. I don't know, but yeah, I'm sorry for saying this, but
Don't know about
obviously
others.
everybody uses their hands, right? I don't know, not every. Yes, so
The other one is doing a lot of work.
I don't know, but there used to be some sort of swelling, and after the swelling, the devil gave me some other thing to do. You know, the devil is sleek because now there was swelling. I discovered another way to do it that would not harm or give me the swell. Yeah, I was a
What
discovery.
what was the way? I
I
want to know.
I am not gonna say it.
Okay.
Don't push
Now
me.
we are not trying to indulge anyone in anything. We are trying to bring healing, eh?
Yeah. So there was another way. So yeah, replication. I became less smart, and also the swelling that was happening, and my self esteem, my self esteem just lowered. Yes, and my motivation as well. So yeah.
Israel, what ways do you think it affected you?
So here's the crazy thing that happened. Yep. In my period of the 2 years. So there are these times where I would not have a phone. So I would result in getting anyone's phone who was home. then I use their
I've
phone.
used my mother's phone before.
So at some point, I used
Yeah,
someone's phone and they caught it.
they found it in the phone.
Exactly. And then I was called, and yeah. So it changed the whole perspective of how someone looked at me. So it actually makes you, people have less respect. Exactly. So why would you do that? So the other thing, I think the other thing, you actually lose a personal relationship with God. Yes, I know he says that come as you are, but again, we should not forget that it's the same God that told Moses to take off his sandals before he would reach to the burning tree. So there's an aspect of you removing what you have for you to go to him. So it is something that the more we do it, the more dirty we become. Yes, we have to go there, but the more dirty we become. So we like drift away from him. So it literally reduced my personal relationship with God. And the other thing is my mental health, and my mental health thing was so something else. I stopped socializing with people. I would always want to be in my room, on my phone, do that, sleep, and forget about that. So I was in this part of the world that I didn't have friends for 2 years because I was so connected to this and that.
Right.
And I became so much petty that each and everything that would happen over here in Lusaka, I would get upset and be like, these people don't love me and all that. So the enemy would actually put in ideas in my head that people don't love me, so I should stay alone and do this. Exactly.
Mm,
Wow.
That's hell.
that's sad.
Wow.
Definitely.
Like I'm this is the first time I'm hearing, when you're going through something by yourself, you think it affects everybody the same.
Yeah.
But we are all affected differently. Because on my end, it was more of the reason why I used to even watch it like once in a month. For me, it came off as a coping mechanism. Whenever my life outside myself was chaotic, that was my release. That's why I would run to like,
Actually, it happens when the enemy identifies your weakness. So the enemy had to identify my weakness to be a very emotional person. So
yup,
when the day is actually hectic for me or something, someone makes me upset, I
yup,
would I would not sleep. So what's the way? Do that, feel tired, and sleep. Just
Right.
like that.
yup.
So devil, he's really strong.
Is a lie. That's why I say it was very,
He's very strong.
very strategic. Because it's crazy how I always mention this. I grew up in a house where there was a lot of chaos. I grew up in a house where there was a lot of violence against my mother, especially, and that messed with me.
Right.
That messed with my esteem. That messed with the perception of myself and marriage and relationships and all that. And growing up in that house, what I found would help me get out of that self pity of growing up in such a house was running towards porn. And that's where I would always find myself whenever I had a dad who had this thing, this thing we call African black parents, the thing for is it tough love? Me, it was tough love Pro Max. It was tough love Pro Max, and the more I got that type of tough love of being smacked and all that, and the only thing you can do in that moment is just get frustrated. Like, go. The only thing I found to calm myself from my frustration, from the tough love to the violence, was that I gotta watch this stuff. That's the only time I feel okay. And that was the boxers, and that's how I found myself watching it once a month because all the chaos would get to me, and then when it becomes too much, then I need to release it, and I'll be there in my room like
So
watching.
I think it's actually also family that adds to that, cause me and him we didn't have actually a great relationship with our siblings, with our older siblings, so we would actually have separate ways. So if we had someone who would actually tell us about this and just tell us the consequences, I don't know. I'm sure everything would have been different by now. Just a
I don't know.
thought.
I think entirely it's a mental thing, and you get exposed, but then what is there in your mind at that point, what is around you, is what determines how far it will go and how often it will happen. Mental thing.
And a thought just clicked to my mind. Say when you say it's a mental thing, but the enemy will find a way to keep you in
Keep
it.
you.
Very.
Yes.
He'll give you every reason to go back to it because he knows how much he can take
You
from
know
you.
what was happening after watching the video? I would go back to search for the disadvantages, and I'll read them. I'm like, let me go back and search for the advantages, and the advantages would actually be like, no, it's healthy, and I'll be like, yo, I'll be doing
Talk
it.
about it. Talk
Talk
about
about
it.
it.
Talk
Come.
I
about it
will be
being
like, I
healthy.
will be doing it because the internet is saying that it's healthy. So
It's
why
healthy.
should I stop it?
Why should I stop? And that
Others
is
will
a
tell you you're
big.
not going to have children.
There is an article on Google that say that if you do not practice this, I don't know what's going to happen, but you have to do it at least once in a while. And I was like, cool.
Blood of Jesus.
Of course, we're going to acknowledge that the Bible doesn't vividly say
Yeah.
masturbation is wrong. However, what we always have to bear in mind is the consequence of everything we're doing. When you talk about how it made you an isolated person and all that, and also how it messed with your IQ, there's more consequence to just watching porn than just what you guys have mentioned. For example, it's one of the things that builds lust in men. And people don't want to acknowledge that. I just watch, but it's making you a lustful person, and it makes you objectify women. You don't see them more than just
It
sex
goes
objects.
beyond that.
It dehumanizes how a human should be portrayed in society. That's another cause. And in your mind, you're so jacked up that the only thing you want from women is sex.
It ends there.
The only thing you want is sex.
The
After
relationship.
after you're in that cycle and relationship is just and the other side, which I came to learn, is that it has it has destroyed the image of sex that God was trying to build. Yeah. It has destroyed the image of sex that God was trying to build. And people, by watching porn, they have the perception that sex is bad, when sex is actually a good thing, which was made by God to be enjoyed in the confines of marriage.
Rev says sex within marriage is worship to God.
Yeah.
Outside marriage is a curse.
Yep.
I feel like there's also this. I was taught this by someone that the sex that is found in porns is not the real sex that happens. So that's actually different. But then I stood and started thinking that
It's
okay,
not.
so people
It's
do like
different.
okay, cut, make this position, do it. Okay, cut.
Huh?
I'm gonna be ready to say, I know that.
For real.
So
That actually
that's
goes on behind
acting.
the
That's
scenes.
really acting. People just acting.
That's
It's
what goes on
not
behind the scenes.
really the real sex that we
That's
see.
what goes on behind the
So
scenes.
the real sex is the one that happens behind those.
That's what goes on behind the scenes. It's
Maybe good
100%
about
acting.
that. Cool. Okay.
I thought those are raw clips.
They
They're
are
not
not.
clips. They're actually
If you
cut.
do your research, they are not. It's 100% acting.
Oh.
And that's one of the things, another thing that it does to your head. The message with the head to make you think that sex is supposed to happen the way it happens in those
I
things.
entirely thought that's how it happens, man. I was like,
Sex happens the way it
exactly.
happens in other things.
I think that's it also affects when it comes to marriages because you literally want your partner to perform the same way that other guy performed in there.
I was about to touch that part now. I was like, we're not
We're not
married.
married.
Exactly.
But
We're
yeah,
You'd be
getting
like,
there.
no, that person did this. Can you also do that? But then you are forgetting that that's acting and this is real life. This is real life.
and it puts people in a place of performance other than actually having actual sex. And I've read this thing over and over. And the more, for me, when I was trying to break away, I started watching from a Christian perspective why it's bad. And they kept on mentioning on how it puts people in a place of performance than having actual sex. Because, like Izzy has mentioned, it puts people in a place of we have to do it the way we've seen it in those things. When those things, like you said, it's not real stuff, that's acting. They've taken some pills to make them last like 2 hours.
I get banned. You are seeing a video for like an hour and you're like, what's happening? Why are these people doing it for an hour? So it's really something. So there's this I would be very much bad if I would mention the couple, but there's this couple that actually recently got divorced because the husband has been caught masturbating. So they'll literally be sleeping in the same bed, but then the husband is doing his thing and the wife is sleeping.
Is it that story that Okay.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
So it is something that even affects you later on in
Mm.
future if you are not careful.
That's what we spoke about in the start. It is a the enemy is so corrupt that he's willing to keep us in a cycle which is never ending.
Yeah.
The moment you don't recognize that you're in a cycle or in a pattern, it will never end until you get like I'm cool. You even be like, as long as you don't intentionally say, I want to stop this thing, there'll be a point in life where you're like, I've stopped. But if that stopping wasn't you intentionally saying this thing is bad, I shouldn't be doing it, you see it pop up in your later in your life. And you're like, let me tell you a crazy story. I'm sure this man will never see this clip. This man was like in his early 50s. I was at the gym. And then we're in the shower because we all share the shower at the gym. There are like six of them. And then there's the toilets and yada. And then there's a sauna side. Now, this man was literally on the sauna side. So there's where the showers are and the toilets. And there's another room for the sauna. So on the sauna side, it's a bit crazy. People walk in boxers and some will just be literally naked because we're all G's, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. Nobody will be like, "Ah." No, everybody just walking around. Now there's this Bali, like in his 50s. I was in the shower. Then I heard, those sounds people make in porn and stuff. I was like, you can find it's going down in here, yeah, in the shower. Let me do it sharp, right? So I came out out of curiosity. I went to peek into the sauna side. I found this man in his 50s, literally outside the sauna, jerking off, and he has his phone right here and he's watching this thing on loud. Then I was like,
At least you would have put it on silent
Are you okay? What is going
or
on?
use headsets.
I don't know if you got a family though, but I was about to say someone's father, but I don't know. Like from that point, you'd be like, does this nigga have sons or something? So it get me thinking about how long you could stay in that cycle without seeing anything.
Exactly. So this is where it goes to the point where you actually mention that the problems that people see are not only those problems that people affect them. There's something actually deeper to that. I once listened to a specific sermon by Pastor Cham Chilombo
Pastor Cham.
concerning the same issue. So what he brought out is there are actually demons that come in your life when you do it. So imagine if you do it 4 times, how many demons are in you? And those demons just don't stay in you. They have to affect one way or another. They have to affect your life. They have to affect your marriage. They have to affect your work. They have to affect anything. So it's not something that we physically see, but there's also something that changes in the spiritual realm as we do it. So it's really a lot.
I've seen things about every time you have spiritual babies. I don't know if
That's what scared me.
children
That's what scared me.
or there's another thing I read, just like there's two demons that control porn and masturbation and lust, right?
They're two different, yeah.
Two, right? So every time you are doing in the action, they're always there. They're
Watching.
always there with you. So do you think we really have children?
We do have to.
And if so, let's say for people that have stopped, like, okay, let's just ask us, right? What out of it? But do you think we still have those children that we made be? Yes, the spiritual babies.
There's actually a specific video that I watched about that on YouTube that said when you do that, the babies are got like there's a spiritual person that actually gets those babies because you're not having sex with yourself. You're having sex with another spirit with you right there and then. So you have their babies and they're gonna get their babies. But then here's a concept. I want you to think like this. So those babies are born. You have them, and probably that wife is keeping your babies.
The spiritual wife.
Your financial stability is not stable. You are not doing well. How come you're trying to work? Don't you think probably you are supporting babies that you're not seeing? And then there is another point. So Pastor Cham Chilombo said that when you're having sex, when you're masturbating to yourself and to the same sex, the same gender. So you think you're not homosexual, but you actually are. Because you're doing it to the same sex.
I gotta put my headphones on.
So
It's hell.
I don't know. My mom, because when I was going through all this, I had very active conversations with my mother about it. And she's actually find someone you trust, like my mom. For me, it was my mom, and I've told her about it. And my mom would always explain to me how watching porn and masturbating just steals your destiny. But you know you're supposed to be great. Everyone is meant to be great at, but then watching porn and masturbation just takes that away. Then remember, the devil comes to steal, to kill, and to destroy, and that might be one thing he's using to get to you, to steal from you, to destroy whatever you have, to make sure there is ruin and nothing goes your way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very, very good.
Let's talk about, before we talk about this thing. I wanted us to go back to the spiritual side of things. I also heard, the baby has freaked me out. You might have like a family and you don't know about it.
I believe.
Yeah, but us acknowledge that 100%. That's
Yeah.
true. There's some truth in that. But I've also heard on the spiritual side of how it's like every time you do that you're having sex with demons. And some of us, that's where we invite things like spiritual wives from. We are like by it's like you open this porthole to the spiritual world, which which can only be sustained by you continually doing it, and they will hunt you. And if you stop without actually intentionally stopping, that's why they come to your dreams, because you don't have to stop. You don't have to stop until you submit to God, and then He's got you. Let's talk about relapse. Let's get on the mental side of things. Let's talk about relapse. Um, let's talk about relapse. You know, I know for every addiction one tries to stop, there's always a point where you like relapse and fall back into it. Did
Yeah.
any of you experience that, and what's the
A
story?
lot of times. A lot of times. It would be just maybe for a month, and it'll be like you convince yourself. One time, me, I even went to prayer with my mom, and she prayed, and we prayed,
That woman
and
of
we
God.
prayed. My fell down and stuff like that. Manifestation of the Holy Spirit. Then it was just like a month later. Then you find yourself back into it, and then you don't know what sense to make out of it. Yes, relapses were there for me a lot of times. It had to reach a point where I learned to control myself and have mechanisms. Controlling yourself and having it in your head and just saying, okay, yes, I've stopped now is not enough. What really helps is the word of God and praying. Prayer, first of all, really pray about it. It helps you really just remember what you prayed. You can't pray for something and just continue going back. Like if it's really something you want to get out of and you are praying hard about it, it helped me remember what I'm trying to get out of, what it caused me, and where I'm going. Also, it helps to look at the bigger picture of things. Pastor Dixon at church really helped me look at things differently. He would give me affirmations, right? And he would tell me to look at the affirmations every day, speak them, and yeah. I also had an accountability person. So every time I would have a relapse, there was my accountability partner. My mom was my accountability partner. And I would tell her about it and would find a way to don't be alone again. Not being alone, I avoided so hard to be alone. Even today, I can't sleep alone because, I don't want. So, yeah.
I don't want to be back in trouble.
Yeah, I like being around people.
Yeah, yeah. Easy. You got anything to say on that? Relax.
Well, mine was a bit wild. Um, so everything started me being in self isolation, yada yada yada. Then I took a step to actually have someone who I'm gonna talk to. So I was in this Baptist church, um, in some part of I think that's Nakonde, Tanzania. I was in this Baptist church. Then there's this new pastor that comes in, and then this new pastor is all jovial and nice. I'm like, okay, cool. Let me open up to him. So I did open up to him, and then yeah, we started the whole journey. It was amazing. And then I actually feel that okay now, bruh, this is not my portion anymore. Then he passed away. He's he just dies in his sleep actually. Just he didn't get sick. So I'm confused. And then to get off this grief, let me do this. So I would do it in the morning. I'm done. I'm still feeling the pain that he's not there. I do it again. I do it again. It was a whole hectic of 1 week. like literally. So that's when I some issues there. I had to leave and come back to Lusaka again. Then here in Lusaka, I think that's when actually I was like, okay, cool. Now there are a lot of people, and but then I was sharing a room with him, so I was like, okay, cool. So I would not have to do this because it's gonna catch me. So let me just lay low. But nah, it didn't work like that. So I again had to have a accountability partner to actually help me. So having someone who you're going to tell things to is actually helpful. I think I reached to an extent of giving that person my password, my everything, check my phone frequently as
My
much
Instagram.
as you can.
Mm. My
Exactly, just
Instagram
for you
search thing
to
when you,
be
yeah.
so certain.
You know, what's crazy is I like when people say prayer about it. It's crazy
Yeah,
when people say pray
just pray
about it.
about
Then
it.
you pray, just pray. I'm kind of trying to leave to stay away from the notion of prayer about it with many things. I remember yesterday we were at church, they talked about how you have to be practical. You have to act on things. You get what I'm saying? I acknowledge how Joshua said you pray about it, you get an accountability partner. I feel like many of us in any addiction, that's a step we
Yeah,
miss. Get somebody you can talk to about it and make sure that person is not somebody that will judge you and be like, oh my God, you're so
yeah,
nasty.
you feel
You
this.
know, they think they're perfect. Find somebody who's open to your vulnerability and actually understand that we're actually human beings and these things
Exactly.
can happen to us. Yeah, and I'm glad you guys have shared that you had those people to get you out of there. But for me as a gangster, I have nobody by my side, you know. Wow.
How did you fight that?
How did I fight that? I started understanding how, like Joshua said at some point, it fights your destiny, you know. It fights your esteem as a person. You know, aside from people just saying, ah, it's cool to masturbate, it's cool to mess with your it's cool to, to do these things and blah blah. There's no effect and many effects. We've spoken about some of them, but one of the things that for me it messed with my esteem, you know. Of course, at some point I did get so comfortable with watching stuff that I would tell my friends about it. Like, yo, I was watching these videos. You seen these videos because you got a circle of people that are actually doing the same thing. Then you're having conversations around that. Now, for me, after sometimes like some after I was getting older, I was like, yo, this doesn't feel right. I'm bigger. I should be bigger than this. So after you watch, I watch, I go back to sleep. I tell myself, like Joshua said, you tell yourself it will never happen again. The next day,
Again.
the next day, not 2 weeks
You
later,
start
the
again.
next day, again you vow again. You're like, you know what, we ain't gonna do that again. And what used to mess with me is the me not being able to keep the promise I was making to myself. The promise of I won't
Yeah,
do
you
this
would have
again.
to do that.
And I find myself doing it again. That's what started messing with my esteem. That right there. The fact that I'd say we won't do this again and then the next day. The more it happened, I was like, dude, why are you
Exactly.
doing this to yourself? Started even convincing myself, like, it would have been better if we just start sleeping around. Like,
Than doing that.
doing that. Like, you are here, you know. What's the difference between you and people that are sleeping around? Let's just get into it. So yeah, then the more I thought about how awful and how much my self-esteem was going down, the more I tried to pick myself up. But I'm a very curious person, and the reason why I have so much information in my head because I spend a lot of time looking for information and reading. So just started looking up, and there's one of my role models up to now, Jose Zuniga. I came across a video of him. No, the mental side effects of watching porn and why you should stop watching porn or why you should stop lasting over women. And as I was following this guy, at first he was just talking about fashion, fashion, fashion. Then he started getting into like men's self improvement, and he started talking. There's a time where he just talking about lust, why you should have one woman, why you should stop watching porn, the effects, and then that was getting to me to convince me like, if I want to be like this guy, I have to stop this one thing. And from there on, I took it intentionally, like, I gotta stop this. I gotta stop this. I gotta stop this. I'll relapse. I'm like, you know what? This is not the end. You're better than this. Let's go. And that's how I got myself out of the cycle. I had nobody to tell it to really. And I just started distancing myself from friends who were about that life because I feel like my friends who were about that life were contributing so much to that. So number one, I detached myself from those.
That's actually good. There's this Pastor Dixon. I wish I met this person a bit earlier in life, because he brought
Have
this.
you met Pastor Dixon? Have you spoken to him? Talk to
You
him.
should. So he brought this point to light. He was like, so the time that I allowed him in my life and everything else, he actually went through all my socials. And then he was like, I want you to unfollow people.
Yeah.
Like unfollow them.
Yeah.
Then I realized that there are some people that would actually post some pictures that would actually give you that thought. Like exactly. These pictures is okay. Then not only that, he was like, I want you to cut off some friends. Just cut them off. He would reach at the next day where he would tell you, I'll come and slap you if I still see you
That I'll
playing
slap
with these
you.
people. Exactly. So it's all coming to a part where you need to have someone who's so tough on you for you to pursue. If you cannot be tough on yourself, get
yourself,
someone who's going to
who's
be
gonna
tough
be
on you.
100% for me. For me, I don't know anybody that's tougher on me than me.
You've not met me.
They have not met you. No, welcome, welcome, Miss Bala.
I'll be
How
tough.
you do? Yeah,
Yeah. Basically. So,
yeah. And just to add on on some of the things you guys have talked about on how you can quit this thing is you talk about pray about it, talk to somebody about it, and also I like to bring it to social media.
yeah.
That's one of the things where you have to be very careful, especially if you're in a phase of I want to stop. Because one of the things for me that contributed to me actually falling back in the cycle was how crazy my feed was on Instagram. You'd be surprised I'm doing this talk right now. If you saw my Instagram 6 years ago, it was crazy. From first feed to the last one, it's just bundafied.
Can I see the records?
Yeah, it's just bundafied, and that's one of the things where which I realized that there can be triggers. You might want to stop, but be aware of what triggers you to go back. And for me, one of those were social media.
It was social media for me as well.
Yeah. What was your trigger?
I actually stayed for a year not being on social media to fight it. So I went back when I was actually okay.
Did you know social media was your trigger?
Yeah, I think so. I knew. So I actually thought me being off social media would be okay. So after a year, that's when I actually bounced back on social media, and I was good.
Yeah, I like that I'm following back because for me, I came into trying to restructure the whole field, the entire field. I don't care if you rap, you sing, as long as you post half something pictures. I was like, for now,
Get out.
get out right here, get out right here, get out right here. Okay, we're still on relapse. Okay, we're talking about relapse now. What ways, although I've spoken about everything, I want us to go through it again. Like, let's acknowledge what ways can we get to a place where we end this cycle. Practical. Let's not just say pray about
Be
it.
practical.
If somebody was sitting in front of us and say, okay, I want to get out of this thing.
Right.
Because yesterday at church that they were telling us we're the next in line. We're the ones that let's say we get there. You got a son and he's telling you, your dad have been seeing these fine women and 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 my third leg has been working. I need to stop, it's wrong. What would you tell him? What ways would you sit him down to? Any of you can go first.
Um. Okay, so what worked for me cannot work for anyone else, but I'll try to make it general. As just like what we've said before, you being off social media is gonna work a lot. I actually thought WhatsApp is okay for me because I only have specific people that I'm gonna talk to. But me being there, one way or another, someone is gonna bring up a conversation that's just gonna make me do that. So what I did best was actually switch off my phone, delete all my social media accounts, and then give it to mom. Yes, how I keep it. And then so I really managed to actually not have my phone. I really managed not to have my phone for like a year, and that's really helped. So social media is the number one greatest enemy when it comes to that journey. So just bruh,
The
you won't
internet.
die. Exactly, you won't die. You not being on Instagram and everything else. And the other thing is be around people, just like what he said. He's always found around people. So be around people, just be around people, socialize yourself, be there, make sure you are not alone, because once you're alone,
The devil will come looking for you.
it's a different story. Yeah.
So anyway, I think really understand that relapses happen, right? Reality, relapses will happen. You will relapse, but then what you do in that moment is what will determine if you are really on the right path or you just want to draw back, right? So when you relapse, that doesn't mean it's the end. It's not the end. You've
Yeah.
just probably tripped. You're like you're running, you trip, stand up, continue going. Okay.
Get up.
It would be bad if you relapse and continue, go back. Now it becomes often like way back, and then you go back to where you were. But then when you relapse, continue looking at where you're going and what is your aim for doing it. Pastor Dixon told me to understand why you're doing something. When you just understand why you're doing it, you will know, and you keep strong and continue going to where you're going. Be practical about it. Again, relapses are going to happen. Yeah, what we said earlier about having accountability and stuff like that and everything, that will really help you. Your accountability partner will just go to them and tell them, okay, yes, I did it this other day, it happened and stuff like that. Then yeah, continue from there. Relapses will happen. And if my child came to me and told me they're seeing a girl and their third leg is acting up, and I'll make them understand what is really happening. I'll tell them, my mom says, have you ever heard that saying that says, "Ukufundo mwana kufika po?" I'll tell them the worst of things so that they know what will happen if they end up doing. My mom used to tell me the worst of things. I don't know, maybe to instill fear in me. The
Should
consequences really
never.
are very important, especially if you're trying to help somebody. Highlight to them the consequences of whatever they're doing. Maybe that will help put the fear in them. Their motivation and the fear probably will help them um, stay on track.
Well, that's a very interesting perspective, especially on telling people the worst. I love that.
Yeah.
I love that 100%. So it's crazy. We're gonna have kids, and we'll have to have this conversation with them.
I would
I
love
can't
having
wait
these
to have
conversations with my
one
kids.
with my kid. Yeah, I can't wait for
I
my
would love.
kid.
I can't wait to have a baby.
You can wait to
Yeah.
have a baby.
No, I will wait, God, because those things are expensive.
Those things are expensive. Yeah, 100%. We acknowledge they're
Mm.
expensive. So just to add to social media and also telling people the consequences of doing something, I think also we have how I'd approach the situation is number one, to make people understand that be kind to
Be
yourself.
kind.
Firstly, be 100% kind to yourself, because sometimes the enemy will use your own hate for yourself against
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
to keep you where you are. So if you're kind to yourself, like Joshua said, uh, relapses will happen even if you're trying to stop.
Mm-hmm.
You say, I'm done, you'll be off for a week. Then the other
Start
week you
again.
go again. So be kind to yourself, especially in those moments where you fall. You say, this is not the end. Then secondly, accountability, very important. Find people you talk to. Find somebody you can tell about it. Um, there's a rapper I listened to who said, confessions brings you peace. Confession of sin brings you peace. Secrets make you weak.
Mm.
So the more you're in secret with what you're doing, the enemy is the loudest person there. You become weaker. You
Word.
fall into the sin even more. So I think accountability is very important. Then thirdly, I'd say, like Joshua said, think about the consequences of
What you're doing
where what you're doing and how much is it taking away
from
from
you.
you. And lastly, we can say pray about it. Otherwise, Jesus is the one that can help you get out of the cycle
Yeah.
and avoid the number one trigger. I believe 100%. The number one trigger, especially for porn, is social media, like he said. If you have to take you have to take a whole break from social media. Take it out. Take even if you unfollow these people, they'll be just ngapara search bapada yeah isa.
It comes.
And then you are like, and your brain will be curious enough to say, I've never seen this before. Once you click, you will start looking for more, and that's the you get back in the cycle. So
I think it has actually gotten worse. What I've started seeing now on Facebook is that there is these people that hack accounts and put to my videos like XXS videos like that, and I'm like, okay, so now it's actually wild. Then the other part I would talk about under accountability is that it would be much better if you choose someone who you are not on the same level of faith. Choose someone who is higher than you. Choose someone who you will go with, they'll give you a scripture. Choose someone who you go to, they'll tell you, let's pray about it. Because I would not advise you to choose someone who is probably starting their first year in Christianity, or maybe on the same edge, or anything else. Choose someone who you know that this person can shari mama, this person can actually take it deep and all that, so that when you fall, they can pick you up, because you need someone to pick you up, not for you to pick each other up. You need someone to
yeah,
pick you up.
you fought to get if I can do this, but I'm putting up
Two blind people leading each other.
Yeah,
Exactly. So
yeah,
yeah,
good for
that's
that. Yeah,
actually
yeah.
good.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's a very valid point. You got anything to add on?
No, that's fine. Otherwise, the grace is sufficient.
Very much.
Yes.
And just a word of encouragement to anybody that might still be in that place is that you are bigger than what you're going through. And if people around you, if your circle especially think watching these things and doing that is cool, you're in the wrong place, 100%.
Exactly. Run.
They are taking you to the grave, you know, real. Like, leave your friends. They're nice people, but leave your friends. So, and then one last thing, eh? Joshua talks about how he's passionate about this conversation. What makes you passionate about
What makes it passionate is I love the satisfaction of being able to overcome this and seeing other people overcome it gives me so much happiness. I'm very glad to be able to help people and see them actually being able to overcome it. Gives me so much satisfaction. And so I'm very passionate about it. Yeah. My experience as well. I think I was very creative. I was very creative, man. Because he even said, no, someone is sleeping. Me, even if you're sleeping, man, you're sleeping. Just even if I take away my phone, I would have them in my head. They would play in my head without the phone. So yeah, it was that bad. So yeah, very creative.
And the other level of being creative is when someone is doing it with a picture. I've also thought about that, how people are so creative. How do I actually start doing it with a picture?
People actually, I think it's the same with videos. It's just that so check take that.
you? People have a strong imagination. That just struck a thought in my mind to say, you know, one of the most powerful things there is on earth is sexual energy. Let me drive it home. It's sexual energy. And if you waste sexual energy with porn and masturbation, the level of creativity and IQ, that's one of the things that was happening to you, is the level of creativity and IQ will go down. But people who are actually abstaining, who have abstained for a long time, they are very creative because the sexual energy is still in one place, and you can use. I was reading this in a book to say, if you can hold on to your sexual energy for a long time, and you're able to use that sexual energy towards other things, you see yourself doing more work, and you're more creative, more hardworking towards other things. Because you find men that are stuck in porn and masturbation are not high achievers. People who are actually abstaining from these things, who've been abstaining from these things, and have built a lot of self-control, are actually the biggest high achievers in the world because they've been able to learn self-control to control the most powerful energy a human being has, which is the sexual urges. They're able to control them for like 10, 15 years. They're able to control themselves in different rooms over other things. I just wanted to add that thought. So that's the advantage of um, of staying away from beating your bacon.
The meat.
Digon Mill says the Bible it tells every other sin. It says fight it, fight it. But when it comes to lust, the Bible says run. Like run. You think you're strong, but last is stronger. So just run. God has your back. So run.
Let's equalize.
Mm.
Let's equalize. Let's equalize. I know we're talking about it from a male perspective. Let's acknowledge the fact that even
Females.
young ladies and females do actually watch these
Yeah.
things and they get addicted to these things. Have you ever come across anybody, any friend?
I have,
You
because
have.
I've shared.
And how did you handle with that?
A couple of times I've shared my story on social media. So how I have had girls and boys that have, but the girls, it has been, I don't know, because it has been somehow hard for me to help girls. But I generally just tell them how I was able to overcome it, because I think masturbation is masturbation, but done differently. So I just generally tell them what I have told you viewers and you here. So yes, girls, boys, children, all of us just I just basically told them that. Yeah.
Easy.
Okay,
Have you?
so what actually came to my attention is that for females, they even have these equipments. One equipment that I know is a vibrator.
What?
A vibrator. A
Oh.
vibrator.
We have
So
those in Zambia.
yeah,
Oh.
they're there. There's actually a shop called the Sex Toys Shop
Good.
here in
Where?
Lusaka. I
Oh.
don't know. I just heard of it here in Lusaka. So what, like, as long as you're not having it with a man, or no, that would be fornication. As long as you're not having it with your partner, your husband,
Husband. Let's be
you are
clear.
doing it with a toy, a mere machine. It's still masturbation,
Yeah.
literally. So, I mean, people will try to actually make it seem perfect, like it's not the actual masturbation. I've not had a female actually tell me that they do it before, but I feel like with them, they try to make it seem like it's okay. It's okay. I'm just gonna use this machine. It's okay. It's cool. I'll try to be a little bit frank. I'm so sorry about this. There's also something that they call fingering. So to make matters worse, this is what happened. In my grade 11, grade 10, somewhere there. I was in class, and then I just heard people shouting in the other class. Whoa, 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 whoa! What's happening? What's happening is that people were sitting
At the back seat.
exactly, and then the guy was doing that job with his fingers. Not only that, another incident was girls only doing that. So imagine, actually text them to where they just have to do it even in public. It doesn't matter. They just need to satisfy themselves, and then they use something like fingers, which probably even cook shima or eat shima.
Well, the devil will embarrass you.
I know I wouldn't want someone to touch me with those fingers, but yeah, that's basically
Yes.
Yeah, we've touched the deep
The
waters.
devil will
I like
embarrass you.
I like the fact that um, we're raw here.
Yeah.
We're raw and it's getting cooked. I'm being sweaty. You can see, I'm feeling the pressure
the heat.
of when I upload this video and people gonna be like, "Why you people talking about that when you're Christians?" You know, that's the fact that we are believers. It doesn't mean we should mouth. We should be watering over things that are actually killing many of us. You get what I'm saying? We should be walking over. I feel like we should be at the forefront of speaking about things like this, so we bring healing. And we're not speaking about this from a place of condemnation and perfection, and like we better, even after coming out of these things, it's just to get a whole understanding out there that you're not alone. Firstly, you're not alone in those addictions. Many of us are victims to that. And also bringing it to the female side, it's the construct that's there that it's only men or males that do porn, but that's not really the reality. Statistics will show you that even women are stuck in these things. And I feel like they have little voices because it's always men that are found to. And like you said, some of them think it's not a big deal. You know what I'm saying? But it is a big deal.
It is.
The same consequences that happen to a man when he's doing this thing
Is something that
are the same ones that will happen to you as a female. maybe even to a greater.
I think it's actually higher for them. Because for us men, if there's a spirit that is going to carry the child, what if it's the women that carries the child for the
Yeah,
spiritual
because
husband?
spiritual
So you are pregnant and you don't
spiritual
know.
husbands and
Give
wives are
birth.
everybody. Yeah, real,
It's
real,
actually worse.
real. So we about to shut it down. We're about to conclude. So I want us to end with this. Um, any piece of encouragement to somebody that is in this phase of, they're struggling with this thing. What would you say? What would you say to them?
Um, we are here for you. Uh, I'm rooting for you. Me personally, I'm rooting for you. We love you, and you are strong. You are mighty, and God has your back. Just know why you're doing it, and continue doing it. Don't stop. Continue. It will happen. You relapse, but don't stop. Continue doing it and pray. Pray hard.
What do you mean by continue doing it?
Continue. No, don't continue doing.
Oh,
Continue
okay.
Trying
on
to
your
stop.
journey of stopping.
Yeah.
Yes, not my. You just go back. No, continue. Yeah. Otherwise, we love you.
I is
Okay, so I'm gonna give reference again to this video that I actually came across. So there's this man of God from Nigeria who actually brought up this point saying that any problem that is under the sun has a solution. As long as it's not above God, it has a solution.
There's no problem above
Exactly.
God. Any.
So this is when the whole scripture comes in that anything is possible with God. There's nothing impossible. So as long as it's under him, on his feet, like under his feet, he's gonna solve it. So just like what he said, you're actually gonna pass through this. It's literally just a phase, and it's just the enemy trying to attack people out there. But there is hope. There is Jesus Christ. There is His love, and then if you're comfortable, you can hit up these guys and just talk to them. They're gonna help you. If you are not, look out to anyone who you are comfortable with. Talk to someone, and then go.
Great.
Alright. So words of encouragement. I heard for the gentleman, especially I like what Easy has said. Is there's nothing that is under the sun that has no solution. You might be in this cycle thinking you're worthless, especially how it messes with your self esteem. You're worthless, you're gonna be stuck here, especially when you're trying to stop and you relapse and then you hate yourself for doing it again. All hope shouldn't be lost. You actually get out of it. And on mine, I like to say this thing, which is number one. I like anybody out there to understand that sex is a gift from God. Sex was created by God to be enjoyed rightfully by you. No, I know there's been in the early church or the church before they've been telling you sex before marriage. Sex is evil. Sex is not evil. Sex is not bad. It is a beautiful thing at the right
At the right
time.
time.
I've messed up, a couple times, and I'm not perfect. That's why I'm able to give this encouragement. And what made me curious enough to start learning about these things is how awful I would feel after doing them. So, sex is a good thing. It's created by God. Porn perverts God's gift of sex and makes you people think it's just supposed to be a regular thing. It's supposed to be enjoyed at the right time.
Yeah, yeah.
And if you're in a cycle of masturbating and porn,
Mm-hmm.
I'd like you to realize that it is taking from you more than it is giving to you. Because after you do your thing, you ejaculate, that euphoria you feel is only for that moment.
Just seconds.
But after that, you have to deal with the self-loathing person you become, how much you
The
hate
wife and
yourself,
the
how much you think
husband.
you'll do. Yeah, you have to deal with all those consequences. You have to deal with walking around with lust. Come to a place that God has got you, number one, and let people find you and find the courage to speak to somebody. The enemy is lying to you, first of all, to tell you that people will laugh at you if you confess that you do these things. There are actually genuine people that are willing to listen to you hear you, pray with you, take practical steps to you, they will find you. So open up, be willing to open up to people, be willing to share with one or two people, and ask for guidance from the Holy Spirit if you're a Christian to find your people that will get you through this. You are not alone. There's many of us Christians who've been through this, especially to my Christian people,
Oh,
because this is how many people fall off the faith by being stuck in something. Please and please, please again. That's a big lie that you're alone in this. God's got you. And the cycle will end by all means necessary. Even if we have to go to hell and beat the enemy, come and carry me, we'll go there.
with Majando.
We got you. So you're not alone, and we're speaking about this because there's hope,
Yeah.
and we're here. We've been through it, and we are healthy and wealthy, and we love you. So for me and my guests, it's been wonderful speaking to all of you.
Been great being here. We had a great time. I had a great time. I don't know about
I
you.
had a great time.
And
I didn't know that I would actually speak English for an hour.
Yeah, it's been like an hour, 5 minutes, but for me, it felt like 10 minutes though.
It
I
was
like talking.
amazing.
great.
It was
Yeah.
really great.
So see you guys in the next episode. Makale Wangu.
Bye.
Click the link down below for the next episode. Peace out.